Hi guys, it's Sunday night and welcome to the APAT Show, and I've got to apologise early. Due to a technical fault, we will be unable to talk about football tonight, so I'm really sorry about that. Leigh, what's happening on the poker front? Are you there, Leigh? Oh no, we've lost Leigh.
That is one serious technical hitch, isn't it, to say the least?
Fantastic. Leigh's back, everyone.
I got as far as you saying due to a technical, and then it just froze.
Well, just for you, Leigh, just for you, because I know you'll appreciate this. I had to apologise to the guys that, due to a technical glitch, we'll be unable to talk about football tonight. So, and there we are.
Well, all I will say is we're looking a damn sight better on Facebook than we are on the studio feed we're getting through. So maybe the rest of the world can sort of hear us for most of it. We'll see what happens. Hey, it'll be fine.
So joking aside, guys, and we will joke a bit. Facebook apparently been having some technical issues today with streaming. Certainly our platform has had technical issues with Facebook streaming. It could be the platform. So we need you to be our sort of ears and eyes out there. Let us know the quality of what you're seeing, right? Because Leigh and I might be seeing something a little bit different. But we are underway tonight in all of the tourneys. Leigh, what are the guys playing? What's the sort of state at the top of the leaderboards? What have we got in store?
So it is week 35 of leaderboard ladders, and currently 35. Top of the table at the moment is Connor Charlton from the UK, closely followed, and when I say closely, we're talking less than a point, by Hegedus Gergo from Hungary. The one and only Richard Rudling Smith is currently in third spot, but there really is about 30 points covering the top 15 players this week. So
it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
it could go anywhere.
The four tournaments tonight are really going to decide where the leaderboard ladders goes for the end of the week. So the Sunday Deep Stack, that's already concluded. $750 in the prize pool there. Alexei Kapuza picked up the win, $224. Beat Steve Nielsen from Sweden. Heads up with our very own Tom Bacon in third place tonight. So nice cash for Tom, picking up $90 from a $11 entry. So very nice indeed for him. Already underway, the Sunday main event, No Limit Hold'em. We're down to 2 tables in that. We're going to jump and follow some of the action in that very, very shortly. There are currently 10 players left of the 79 that started, $2,500 in the prize pool. It's paying top 13 tonight, so we're now in the money. It got a little bit slow as we went to 2 tables and hand for the money, and we'll now have a similar situation as we go down to the final table, because they are only going to be 1 player away from that. The PLO tonight, just $10 shy of the guarantee, so $1,000 in the prize pool, paying top 6, and there are 6 players remaining in that. One David Harvey of the Hit Squad
superb.
is in the final 6 for that one tonight. And then obviously we conclude the week, in fact, with the Turbo.
Sorry, what was that, Leigh? Computer says no, guys. Computer says no. We've lost Leigh.
That's me again, really?
Yeah.
Wow,
it's bizarre. Well, here's the thing, you see. I don't know whether I'm losing you or whether, in fact, you're losing me. I don't know which of us has been cast adrift in space. And I do have the live stream running here beside me, but it doesn't really help me because weird signals come up. So you guys, please, tell us what you're seeing. Tell us where it freezes.
Well,
that's what we need to know.
What I can tell you is that we have got to a final table in the No Limit Hold'em. So that is now at that point. So what I'll do is I'll quickly just run you down before I get seriously departed technology wise again. I'll let me run through who's on this final table. So chip leader is Daniel Furbacher from the Czech Republic. Sam Hughes from the UK, second in chips, only a few behind Daniel actually. Florian Patnik from Malta, Stuart Locke from the UK, Talis Lukmayer from Brazil, Konstantin Chersin, very regular player with APAT from Russia. John Hilton Castro from Brazil. Tom Bacon has made this final table as well. So
Wow.
already had a decent run in the
Nice.
deep stack earlier on. And Bill Shepherd makes up the 9. So good luck
Ah,
to all of you.
nice.
And just as we say that, Bill is all in.
Well, let's just see how this one plays out. You'll have to call it, Leigh, because I can't really see it.
Yeah, all in under the gun, and pretty much gets it through. So
sweet.
So Bill picks up the blinds in that one. Yeah,
sweet. Well, listen, guys, it's obvious there is a possibility, just based on the way everything's working tonight, that we may not get through this show. So if we disappear offline or whatever, you just please take our apologies in advance for that. We do have Trish Chaplin in there. Tom Bacon is there. Steve Forty is there, and Steve is already nudging me. I haven't seen Steve for ages. Lovely to see you back, Steve. Hi, Des. What a disgrace today. I am starting a campaign to get Klopp the sack after the shocking defeat of Liverpool to West Ham. Leave it to me, Des Duffy. But Leigh, you shouldn't be smiling, because he goes on to call you a lag. He says, Leigh's a lag. Lag, you're a lag, mate. No, I'm sorry, it's Leigh has lag. Oh, I see.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Leigh slag.
Yeah, you're a lag, mate. Gonna give you a
well, we're not quite sure the reason why, because I've done speed checks, and we did the bits before we started, because we saw that this was a bit of a problem, and I'm up and down in like a trooper on my broadband tonight. So
that's the problem there, right there, Leigh.
Yeah,
let me talk you through the technical aspect of it. When you're up, it's totally fine. It's when you're down that we have a problem, okay?
Yeah. So we're not quite sure why there's a lag being created somewhere. It could be that it's through our studio software. We're not 100% sure.
As we like to say on this show, detail. Dear.
Absolutely. Well, don't need to worry about it. Yeah. Well, the thing is, to be fair, neither of us really want to necessarily talk about football, because obviously,
well, I don't know.
United's performance yesterday was.
Yeah, I was quite keen to talk about that.
Atrocious.
To be honest,
yeah.
Can we just talk about that?
Yeah, of course we can, because it was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I actually think we are going to have a problem with this tonight, Des, and I don't think it's going to be our problem. I think it's actually, looking at Facebook, it is absolutely jumping all over the place on the feed coming in for the guys that are watching. So it's not necessarily going to be what you or I are hearing now. I think it is actually going to be Facebook that's causing the problems.
I'm seeing a ton of messages on my screen, which I assume the others are seeing, which is waiting for live video signal. The broadcast is waiting for signal. That's, pops up for 2 or 3 seconds, disappears, pops up, disappears. It's completely unwatchable. So I think we're going to have to make an executive decision here, Leigh, regrettable as it is, that obviously we just can't give the guys what they're looking for. As Steve posts, Mark Z hasn't paid the bills for the Facebook servers. That's right. He's spending all the money on new furniture for the Meta Universe office. That's a whole other thing we've got to talk about, Leigh, but I don't think it's going to be tonight.
Yeah, that would be. Well, exactly. Unless Facebook can settle down, it may be that it's starting to do that, because it does. I haven't seen a message now for about 20 seconds, but that's not
settle down, you lag.
Very shortly.
We'll
give it a whirl and chat for a little bit. Put it this way, whilst it's not working very well, let's talk about United yesterday. Let's get it over and done with, whilst no one can actually hear me have a rant about
how can a team.
I've
got a question.
Let's go with this. Well, I was going to say the best way to go with this is, because you're as a neutral. What did you make of the game yesterday?
Well, it was like men against boys. United had nothing to offer. It was all sissy. United obviously played with 5 at the back. Well, they call it 3 at the back, but it was kind of 3 at the back, but it should have been 5 at the back, to try and reduce City's chances. But in reality, it didn't make a difference. And what I really struggle with is there are times when Man United look really dangerous. Admittedly, not in a game against a top 4 club, but when they play and go behind in Europe, when they play some of the smaller teams, they can look incredibly dangerous on the counter. They can look incredibly fast. You know, Fernandes is top of the rankings in the Premier League for through balls. That works very well for United. But they don't seem to have any of those tools when they're playing the top clubs at the moment. I don't get it. I just don't understand it.
No, it's really, really weird to think that we played Liverpool and City in the past few weeks, and it feels like we played into both, you know, hands each time. With Liverpool, we decided we'd try and outpress you. That worked really well. And then with City, we decided we'd sit back and let them have possession, because they don't really like possession, do they? They're not that type of team, obviously. Yeah, just absolutely crazy. We came out in the second half, and it felt. I felt like we put a little bit together, but then you realise that all it was City was letting us have the ball for a bit, and then they got bored of us having the ball because we weren't doing anything with it. So they decided they'd take it back, and then wouldn't let us play anymore with it. You know, it very much felt like that. Men versus boys, as you put it. I mean, that's exactly how it felt. And what's really, really weird about it is you look at that United team. You know, it's big players there.
Yeah. The issue is
you know,
that the damage that's occurring on a weekly basis now is pretty critical, because, for example, Luke Shaw's had it for a couple of weeks now. Wan-Bissaka really was getting it after that match yesterday, and this has a critical impact on confidence and what have you. I think Harry Maguire's been getting it for a couple of months now, in fairness, and he's been sort of shaking it off, and, you know, fair enough. But there've been lots of questions, and of course, you had Varane coming in, and who Lindelof, I think, had a pretty decent season last season. Will have felt a bit hard done by to lose his spot to Varane. Varane obviously worthy of a place in the team, but I think with his coming, but much more so Ronaldo's coming, the team shape has sort of changed, and people who've played well have suddenly, you know, been pushed out of the team. And I don't understand why Donny van de Beek can't get a game.
Well, did you see the biggest cheer of the match yesterday?
Yeah, when he came on.
Was when he came on.
So it's become almost like a fable. He obviously isn't playing well enough, you know, be it in training or in the games, to retain a place. But, you know, Ollie is sworn to Fred and McTominay. And I suppose that's because they're probably the best of what he's seeing. But it's very, very clear that Fred and McTominay wouldn't be getting into any of the other top six sides.
I think if we're going to play the 3 or 5.
I agree, Leigh. I agree. Words cannot explain Fred and McTominay.
Today, during the United City game, and I thought Spraggy summed it up quite beautifully, which was, we haven't got the players to play either of the formation at the moment. The one that Ollie wants to play, we haven't got the players to play that. And the playing the 5 at the back, we don't have the players to play that either, unfortunately. So you're left in a situation whereby, you know, what strategy, what formation can we play that is going to get the best out of the players? The fact is that Shaw and Wan-Bissaka aren't wing backs. They're just simply not. You know, if you're going to play them in a 5, they're not wing backs, and they're needing to provide the width going forward. Yeah, they need to be stable at the back as well, but you would hope having 3 centre backs along them, you know, it gives them that stability. But they're supposed to be able to bomb on as well and create the width, because you're not playing effectively with three up front, or 3 off a striker, and therefore 2 wider players, which is normally, you know, your Sanchos, your Rashfords, your Greenwoods, you know, your Martial, that type of play. We're not necessarily playing with us. We're playing with 2 up front now, and Fernandes sat behind. It just doesn't work. They're not. Wan-Bissaka hasn't got that. Defensively, you'd have said he was as sound as anything. In recent weeks, you're kind of looking and going, well, what's going on here? Because he's now been put in this position where he doesn't quite know what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not. He's not used to it. He's not a Trent. Yeah, he's not ever going to be.
But to be honest, you don't need a Trent. You've got a different sort of midfield to Liverpool, so it doesn't have to be a Trent.
But also, if you're going to play 5 at the back, you don't need to play the McFred partnership. I mean, it's crying out. The minute we played 5 at the back, it is crying out to be playing one of them with Donny van der Beek.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crying out for it. Why do you need to sit there with 2 defensive midfielders when you're playing 5 at the back? You just
got
don't need
3
it.
centre backs. That's the thing, I guess. What was it? Crikey, 4 or 5 months ago, you finished second in the league, and you reached a Europa League final, which is bloody hard to do. Admittedly, the teams are not. Well, some of them are Champions League teams, but it's still a bloody hard thing to do. And I just don't. It's so clearly those players are not a bad. They're not a bad unit by any means. But when you come up against City and Liverpool, and we've seen it in some of the other games, you just fall apart. It's brutal. What's going on.
Really, really weird is that that City and Liverpool, I don't think have necessarily strengthened massively from last season to this season. Really,
Liverpool's net spend. Yeah. The net spend between the summer of 2018 and last summer, right? United, top of the net spenders. They've spent 330 odd million.
But Liverpool
have made a $3 million profit.
I tend not to worry about the money. The money is kind of, it's not irrelevant, but it isn't really the kind of where it is. It's the fact that Liverpool have got their injured players back. So they've strengthened from last season on the fact that they've got a full squad back. They've got, all the players that were on long-term injuries back, and therefore they're back to the Liverpool team of 2 seasons ago.
Oh, we've got a ton of injuries at the moment, Leigh. We've only 3 fit midfielders.
But the point is that United are supposed to have improved.
Yeah,
their squad. Yeah. They brought in Varane. They brought in Sancho. They brought in Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be improving a squad that finished second in the league, Europa League final. So you kind of go, well, so you're expecting at least that, if not progressing on, and it's fallen off a cliff. Literally fallen off a cliff. Players that were actually steady, consistent in their performance last year, of all of a sudden just forgotten how to play football, and there's no confidence in the team. And yeah, the media are very easy to throw out, oh well, Ollie's not this and Ollie's not that, and the players aren't this, but it's something really weird, and there's still something not quite right in that camp. So you take the City game on Saturday. Pogba was suspended due to his ridiculous challenge in the Liverpool game. It's absolutely crazy. So he's not involved in the game on Saturday. Yet Friday's papers are full of Pogba saying, well, I don't know whether I've been treated by the club. They haven't offered me a contract and I would want to stay. And you're thinking, why are you putting this out there now, the day before the Manchester derby, when you're not involved? Yet you're feeling like you need to be explaining to the fans why you've not signed a contract yet. Well, United did offer him a contract. He just didn't want to sign that particular contract. But yet he's putting that out on media, or his people are putting that out on media. Something's still not right in that dressing room. It's still not where it should be, and whether that's as Maguire as captain isn't doing what he should be doing, or Ronaldo coming in as shaking it as shaking it up, not in a good way. It's put a few people's noses out of joint. Whatever. We've taken a number of steps back from where we were last year, when we should have been progressing on.
Well, look at your new CEO. If we start there, he's a commercial guy. As you currently your commercial director. When you really need a strong character, you've just promoted the guy who's been there for 25 years, Richard Arnold. So he'll be the new CEO in a month and a half, 2 months, when Ed moves on.
But even that in itself, Des, is hilarious.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you just said it yourself. In a month or 2 months, or well, no one really quite knows.
He shouldn't have been there for 7 or 8 months.
He just kind of said, well, I'll end of the year I'm going, but he hasn't actually said exactly when or what the situation is going to be. It's really peculiar.
It just doesn't look like anybody's making any decisions. Authority at all levels is questionable at United at the moment. There was a period when I think they were in a bit of a love-in. The Ollie relationship with everyone was very positive, and therefore it sort of looked authoritative because they were all pulling in one direction. But right now, because the results have started to fall, and people are seeing real cracks in the team that don't seem to be form orientated. They seem to be much greater from an issue point of view than that. You look at the new CEO coming in, isn't a football man. Ollie and his coaching staff are, they're relatively inexperienced given the scale of United's team and the scale of United's business. I mean, they're relatively inexperienced. Experience alone as a player, success as a player, wasn't enough to keep Gary Neville in a job at Valencia. I mean, they got rid of him very, very quickly when the results turned. And I just think, Maguire isn't helping. He doesn't come across as a captain because he's making a lot of the mistakes himself. And sometimes you've got to lead by example. You've got to manage that back line. And the back line's a bit of a disaster at the moment. So it seems that all levels
as good as City were yesterday, and they are just, when they're on their game, they are just ridiculously good. But the 2 goals that they scored were, we gave them those goals.
Yeah.
Absolutely gave them those goals. And if De Gea hadn't been in top form in the first half, it could have been 3 or 4 by half time. We could have been on another Liverpool scoreline.
Yeah.
And if you're going to play this 5 at the back, and you're going to say we're going to play, you can't afford to be giving teams a 2-goal head start on you.
No,
you just can't, because as has been proven, and we've done that now on numerous times this season. I mean, the fact is we've given 2-goal leads to a lot of teams this season. You just listen today, Villa have sacked Dean Smith after losing 5 games on the bounce. The last game he won before that was against us. When Villa beat United. So you kind of think, well, that's now a quarter of the managers in the Premier League already gone, and we're only in November. It is surprising that they're sticking by Ollie at the moment, but at the same time, I keep coming back to the same thing I've said week after week on this show, and whenever we talked about it, I still don't know who else is out there that
I think almost anyone, Leigh, at this point. You've got to shake it up. And unfortunately, the managers are always the first to go because it's easier to replace a manager than 7 or 8 players in the team, right? So the managers are always first to go. And, one of the important benefits in that is that it just enables change. It enables everybody to start again. And with United, that should have a positive impact because you've got the players. You just need to re-look at everything that you're doing. Sometimes if you're incredibly close to it, it's either hard to see the mistakes that you've been making, or you just don't have the ability to see it and you don't have the ability to change it. But Eddie Howe going to Newcastle, that looks like it's going to happen. You see Xavi going to Barcelona. Who else we got? Conte obviously going to Spurs. It's you reach a point and you quickly get in there that it doesn't really matter who you bring in because massive experience isn't a guarantee of success anyway. You just need to change it to stop the decline.
Yeah, but you say that, but this is Manchester United. It's not as easy to just go, we just need to get anybody in to change it up, to shake it up.
But I don't mean that literally. I mean, there are 10 managers out there of which you could find a fine manager with a lot more experience than Ollie.
But there's plenty of managers that have got more experience than Ollie. The point is finding one that's actually available and is going to want to come to United and do a job. That's the difficult thing. I don't think there's that many out there at the moment that will be considered of the right level. I really don't.
If one of the right level doesn't pop up, are you going to stick with Ollie forever?
Well, it won't be. It's not a forever thing because eventually somebody will come along that they want. But I think at this moment in time, it probably will be a case of sticking with him. I really do. I don't see.
Do you not think the damage between club and fans, the trust, the motivation of the players, everything's just going to go down because of the weight on the team at the moment? I mean, every match. So Wan-Bissaka being my example. Look at how much stick he got coming out of the City game.
But it's results driven, isn't it? You put a run of results together, and fans very quickly, will forget. And that the squad and the team are capable of putting results together.
But do you have any confidence that they will, just based on performance? I mean, yes, they might get some results, but there'll be scrape-ums or there'll be inconsistencies there. It's hard to see them, going on a 10-match unbeaten run.
Quite possibly they could be on a 10-match unbeaten run. it's all about who you're playing and timings of things, isn't it? That's completely it. There's nothing to say that they couldn't go on a 10-match unbeaten run. This was always going to be a really tough run of fixtures. It's been really poor in the fact that actually it's not just been the fact that we've lost to Leicester, Liverpool and City. It's been the manner of those defeats has been I think the biggest shock.
But in
I
this
think
run, you've also got Everton and Aston Villa. It's like you've got Atalanta, a couple of very scary games there. It just hasn't been about City and Liverpool and whoever else you had a tough game against. It's been against all sorts of clubs.
No, exactly. But the point is to say, I come back to the point: who is out there? Who is out there that you'd go, do you know what? I'd love him to manage the team.
Conte apparently waited for you. Apparently he was waiting and waiting. He thought you might come knocking. You wouldn't have been pro Conte going in?
No, wouldn't have wanted Conte in. No. Don't like his management style. Don't think he would have suited. I think it would have been another Mourinho, and it would have just got quite toxic quite quick. I don't think it would have been a good fit for United at all. But maybe it's just the thing is we've been so spoilt with Ferguson for so long. With a manager that's stuck, is that maybe that just it isn't the case anymore. It's if you can get a manager to do 5 or 6 years, you've done very, very well. That isn't just it isn't a thing anymore. Managers are in and out and chopping and changing. But I think most clubs would say they just would like some consistency and some some stability with a manager. You look at it now and. West Ham's result today, and you kind of look at where West Ham are now and what David Moyes is doing there, and you kind of think, really, I can't think anyone would say that we didn't give Moyes wasn't given enough time at United, but he probably also being first in after Ferguson it wasn't the right thing. You wanted to be second in then, and probably would have worked out for him.
Well, how long was he given? 9 months.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. No, well, he went. I think so. Giggs, I think, managed about the last 4 or 5 games of the season, I think, if I remember rightly. But
less than a season. And Ollie's into his 4th season with United. Is that right? 4?
It will be, because he came in the December time. So this will be his.
So do you think Moyes was given enough time, or do you think
no Moyes wasn't? No, Moyes wasn't given enough time.
And we understand why they jumped quickly there, because obviously you were going from an incredible period of success, and that seemed absolutely untenable. Today, it'd be a different scenario, obviously, because we're seeing that with Ollie.
Yeah, of course it is. The fact with Moyes, it was a situation that, I guess, he was Ferguson's choice. He was right. It was the right person to offer, some longevity for the coaching position. But for whatever reason, it just didn't really feel like they gave him enough time to do it. They certainly didn't back him. And bear in mind that he inherited a pretty woeful squad that, albeit won the league the season before, but never should have done. So he had a lot of work to do. He didn't get any of his, any of the major signings that he wanted. If you remember, they were scrabbling around for deals, and we ended up signing Fellaini.
Yeah.
Just like,
that probably
ridiculous.
Didn't help, did it? And we've had this discussion before, but I'd have him back in a shot at United just based on how, stable and the fact that he went to West Ham, left the club, and was invited back and has done such a great job. He's improving players, right? And ultimately, that's the primary job of the coach, to improve the players.
Yeah. I didn't see the game today, but I understand that
played well.
They weren't lucky, but a number of Alisson mistakes, I believe.
Yeah. Corners. There were corners right on top of the goalie. You might say the first goal, there was an element of a foul in there. I think it would have been harsh on West Ham if it was given, but definitely Alisson's arm was being pushed. The second goal, went over his head, and somebody knocked it in at the far post. I'm not even blaming mistakes in it. I think West Ham looked dangerous on the break. Liverpool had lots of possession, as they tend to do. Didn't deal with the low block as well today as they have done in more recent fixtures. I'm not walking away with any particular arguments. I mean, I've got question marks over the way we played, but I thought West Ham were great. Yeah, fair play to them.
Interesting. Tom Baker in the chat says, I don't think you can rewrite history based on Moyes' current stint at West Ham. He was pretty awful at every job before this. Well,
I don't think he was he?
I think he did. I think he did as good a job as he possibly could have done with Everton in his time there. I don't think Everton fans were necessarily complaining massively. I'd be interested to know if United hadn't have come knocking because Ferguson left. He probably would have still been at Everton for a number of years after that. I would have thought. No reason not to be.
Yeah, I mean, by the nature of the fact that Ferguson brought him in as his replacement, I mean that's almost recommendation and enough. Really, that's quite the endorsement, isn't it?
Yeah, I would have thought so, but yeah, but it's obviously international break now because we haven't had enough of those in the past couple of months.
What are they
just
doing?
Seriously, as we've said on this show before, follow Wenger, get them all moved to sort of end of May, June time each year. None of this nonsense of breaking every couple of weeks. It ruins the flow of the league. It's not great.
Yeah, no,
at all.
It's horrible. And when you just had a defeat, well, look, if you've had a defeat, you want to get back pretty quickly so that you can try and get that out of your system. Similarly, if you've had a win and you're on a good streak, you don't want to stop then either.
No. So Tom's just back in the chat saying, yeah, at Everton he was good, but every job since he hasn't been. To be fair, I can't. Yeah, until he's gone back for West Ham for the second time, he did have a bit of a run where just nothing seemed to really kind of get much momentum for him. To say this, but you don't. But a good coach doesn't become a bad coach overnight, do they? So
yeah, I think the reality is we'd all agree that a coach needs a period of time. Now the question, might be, well, what should the time period be realistically? Because the coach will have his way of playing. He will have the dressing room to manage. He will have to manage upwardly as well to the board and stuff like that. He will need to bring players in. Now, all of that takes a period of time, and obviously, it all depends with what he has to start with. So at United, you might have questioned Moyes initially based on the fact, well, has he ever worked with this level of stars and stuff like that? Can he handle that type of dressing room? And so there will have been lots of questions on Moyes from day one going into that job, and clearly buying the likes of Fellaini didn't particularly positively suggest that he had what it took to manage stars and continue to maintain a team of stars.
By the way, do you ever do this where you look back and go, oh yeah, I forgot he used to play for my club? Yeah, because it's like it's moments in time where you just kind of go, yeah, that can't have possibly happened. We couldn't have possibly signed that player for a period of time, and then you go, oh shit, yeah, they really did.
I'm sad to say it, but I've seen some commentaries where they said, and this player, he played for Liverpool back in 2003, 2004 season. I've gone, did he? I don't remember that at all. But I try to forget that stuff really quickly because it has all sorts of implications. But thereafter, I mean, he didn't get a lot of time, did he? He went to Real Sociedad, if I remember correctly, obviously at West Ham the first time. West Ham really confuses me because obviously he was let go in favour of Pellegrini. But West Ham brought him back. I mean, that doesn't happen very often. What did they see in David Moyes to want to bring him back?
I think the Pellegrini thing just didn't really work, did it? And for whatever reason, it's a weird one with manager back, but it's a weird one with the owners there that never makes a huge amount of sense.
Maybe he had something on them.
You're not missing much on the poker. I say not missing much. There's a lot going on the poker, and I think the screen's got a lot better now. So we seem to be more stable on Facebook than we were when we started the show tonight. But the big story is Bill Shepherd, who was the ninth of 9 going into this final table, and is now up there vying for the chip lead. But we've still got 9 players. I don't think we've ever had 9 on the final table for what feels like about now 20 minutes or so.
I like to call Bill Shepherd Parking Bill. I call him Parking Bill because he advises me. When I go to Liverpool, he advises me where I can park. right?
Is he
And
is he a bit of a fan of the multi-story car parks,
well,
or he knows
no,
side
God, no,
streets
you don't
quite
do
well?
multi-story car parks in Liverpool. You don't do that. What you've got is a load of streets around Anfield, all of which have, don't park here, residence permits only, and stuff like that. You're going to be fined and all of that stuff. But Bill knows certain shadows, certain dark corners where you can park your car safely. But I am not just calling him Parking Bill because his name is Bill and he helps me how to park. I'm calling him Parking Bill because I'm sure at some point there will follow a parking bill. So I'm just going to wait for that.
Yeah.
But Bill is my man.
At some point, he's going
to cost me serious money and one of those yellow hoodies on my wheel.
Yeah. So Steve Forty's in the chat. He says the problem with Ollie, this is now Ollie's team. The players that have come in should have made the squad stronger. Can't tell you the best starting 11 for Man United and the system they should play. That is pretty much it at the moment. You look at the other big, we'll say other big sides at the moment. You look at the big sides in the league at the moment, and you know how they're going to line up. You know how City are going to play. You don't necessarily know who's going to play. I mean, I must admit, I was very grateful that he didn't bring Grealish off the bench yesterday, because I've had Grealish on my fantasy football side, but I've got a sub that scored. I've got a sub that scored really highly, and I was quite happy to see Grealish not play, so I'll get the auto sub in. So that was quite good. But I mean, that was the other crazy thing yesterday. Obviously, we made 4 substitutions yesterday because I wasn't aware of so Shaw went off with a head injury, so that doesn't count, which I think is a good rule to have. City didn't even make a substitution yesterday. I mean, talk about just final nail in the coffin. Like, we're beating you, and we could rest some players, but do you know what? We'll let them see it out. No, the others are quite warm on the bench, and it's raining, so they don't want to get wet.
They are goodly, and for me, remain the favourites. I know people are talking about Chelsea, but I am not surprised that Chelsea dropped points yesterday. Well, I mean, maybe
you think they've overperformed so far this season, don't you? You think
I do. Just based on their the number of shots they've taken and stuff like that. A lot of them are hitting the back of the net. They're converting at a far higher rate than any of the clubs around them, and inevitably, at some point, that's just gonna switch a bit. And it clearly switched against Burnley. They had a ton of shots. They didn't convert anywhere near as many, and they finished 1-1. I think Burnley only had 2 shots in the whole game, scored a goal, and they walk away with a point. So I don't think Chelsea will run away with it by any means. I think they've got an incredibly deep squad, very high quality team, as do City. I think Liverpool have a weaker squad. I think everybody would admit that. A good quality first team for sure. But this might not be the 95-point sort of feast that everybody thinks this season in the Premier League. I don't think you'll see 2 or 3 teams at over 90 points. This might be another sort of 88 points to win it, 85, 83. So I could see all 3 of Liverpool, Chelsea and Man City actually dropping points, particularly City. I think City will win games 6-0 and then they'll draw the next game 0-all. I think they definitely have that in them.
I genuinely think it's going to be an interesting fight with those 3 at the top. I think the fight for the 4th place could be really, really interesting. And the relegation's going to have this kind of weird thing. Norwich finally get a win and sack the manager.
Hooray! Let's sack the manager.
Just crazy situation. But again, down, I think it could be a low number of points. Keeps you in the league this season, quite possibly. Obviously, Newcastle have got Eddie Howe in now, but there's some Newcastle fans already saying, well, it might already be too late. We could be going down this season. I mean,
but it's a mindset, right? It's a change of sort of excitement level in the dressing room, change of confidence levels, all of that sort of stuff can make a huge difference, because the line between picking up points or dropping points pretty fine in the league, and there's no question Newcastle shouldn't be in the bottom 3. So I'd hate to see them go down. I think it'd be an absolute disaster. I mean, it would be incredibly interesting for the Championship to have a Newcastle free spending team in it, But I personally for the fans and stuff, I'd hate to see them go down. Eddie Howe, yeah, I think he'll do a good job there.
Yeah, no, I think he will. Obviously they're going to back him financially, because what's the point in bringing somebody in otherwise? And he certainly is, is good at managing a squad. And yeah, I think it'll be an interesting one. I genuinely hope that actually he can grow that side and stick with them through it. The worrying thing is it could well be that in 2 or 3 years' time they're then looking to bring a higher profile manager in, but only time will tell. We will wait and see.
Yeah.
What I do need to mention is that the PLO absolutely flew through its final table. That's done and dusted. We've
Really?
still got 9. Yeah, it started an hour after the No Limit Hold'em tonight. They've still got 9 on their final table, but the PLO is done. Diego Gomez from Malta picks up the win there, beating Carlos Schott from Chile, I think that is. Heads up with Brian Cunningham from Canada in third. Brian plays quite a few APAT events. Dave Harvey unfortunately finished in 6th, but picked up the min cash for that one, so that's all good. So away from the football, did you see what appeared on Netflix on would it be, when was it, last Friday? Would it be
Maradona, was it?
No. So the prequel to Army of the Dead.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
Have you watched it yet?
Yeah.
So Army of Thieves came out on the 31st. I think it's on Netflix and available in some selected cinemas as well. So Army of the Dead, obviously you've put trailers on and we've shown clips of that and all of Army of the Dead, set in Vegas. Really great, just a proper good watch. But yes, so you've already watched it, have you?
Well, I tell you what, I watched the first 20 minutes of it and I thought, I really like this. I mean, I'd heard. And we didn't mention it last Sunday night, but I'd heard on the movie review thing that I told you about when I was coming down from Wales with Sean the previous Sunday night. I'd heard on that movie review thing somebody talking about a prequel to Army of the Dead, and they didn't give a lot of details, but it was clear that it was going to be focused in on one character. So I thought, I wish they'd said more about that because I'm really interested. I'd like to have known what it was called. I didn't get the name. But I just happened upon it on Netflix, some night earlier in the week. I watched 20 minutes and I thought, I really like this, but I'm not going to watch this. So I stopped it. And over the weekend, I watched it with my son and daughter, who are 8 and 10. So, because I thought they're really going to love this. The whole cracking safes and that whole thing. They're really, really going to love that. They did. Absolutely loved it. So there was a little bit of language in there, a little bit of violence, but nothing too bad. If you add their ages together, they're totally fine, right? From a racing point of view, that's the way we work, right? That's the way
are they now joining you as part of the crew when it comes to doing the bank jobs?
Well, I'm not sure we have the skills. I'm not sure we have the skills, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great yarn. And listen, I'm not 100% sure that everybody's going to sort of really like it. But, I thought it was a good yarn. It was highly produced. It looked great. Nice little story. And I thought some of the acting was fabulous.
Yeah. So I've got that one to look forward to.
Oh, you haven't watched it yet?
Oh, I haven't watched it yet. No. I'm absolutely, I'm snowed in. As you can probably see over my shoulder, over that shoulder. I've spent most of the weekend packing Labrador Rescue Christmas orders. We launched the Christmas cards and next year's calendar on Monday, and so in the space of 7 days we've had about 80 orders. So it's been a bit manic, to say the least.
It's nice to
are we
see
finally gonna lose a player? We are. Unfortunately, it's Bill. Goodness me, what a roller coaster of a final table for Bill. Pocket nines there and runs into the kings of Sam.
Parking Bill has been posted.
Not a lot you can do there, unfortunately. And
unlucky Bill.
Bill's going to depart in 9th spot, picking up $85, and that gives Sam Hughes a massive chip lead. Now he's got more than twice the next place player, and might get a little bit more action now. Looks that might be the way. Daniel Furbacher is all in on this hand. So is John Hilton as well. So we're going to see. Certainly a showdown here once Florian makes his decision and gets out the way. Ace 5 versus Queen 10. It's the Queen 10 at risk. The 10 hits. and he's going to hold. So Daniel's going to get a double up through John Hilton who's from Brazil, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen,
unfortunately,
Bill's in the chat there, Leigh. He's saying, bye-bye, obviously, with his hand. Cheers, Des, on the parking stuff. And he said earlier the one who stung me had a three-way all-in go his way. So, Bill was maybe unlucky to be in that hand in any event. Such is poker, guys. Such is poker.
Well, this is now chips flying in because blinds are 20,000, 40,000, and some of these stacks here have only got about 110k, three big. So it's inevitable it was going to happen at some point. We're going to have a three-way all in here. It's tens versus ace four versus ace seven. It's the tens and ace four at risk.
Look at
four's
that.
been hit. But the tens are going to be good for pretty much a full triple up. Yeah, there wasn't a huge amount. There wasn't even a side pot there, actually. So it was a full triple up. So so Konstantin Cherson, again, regular player with APAT, gets a full triple up. And all very quickly now we're down to 7 players.
I tell you what is particularly interesting, Leigh, is that it seems like the service is back up to 110%. Everything seems to be crystal clear. I'm working, no lag.
Yeah,
no lag.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely flying. So I can only assume it was a combination of Facebook and our studio software that was causing the issues. They could be using the similar service, obviously. There's that possibility.
It's the new metaverse, Leigh.
That's it. We're all there, aren't we?
Talk about the metaverse.
We're all there. Goodness me. I'm still trying to get my head around kind of crypto and NFTs. Yeah. Start throwing a metaverse in. I'm feeling very old.
Well, I tell you, Leigh, all that I know about cryptos and Bitcoin and various things that I can't pronounce or remember is that if I'd invested heavily in them, I'd have been a very, very wealthy man. If indeed I could have sold them without crashing the entire crypto system. As it is, I am just a very poor man who is not wise in the ways of crypto.
No, it is. But it's one of those things. It's like when crypto first came out. To be honest, it felt very much like you were selling your cow for some magic beans. And you're just not going to do that, are you? It's just,
I knew this guy once who did that.
Yeah, well, but people obviously, decided to, get involved in it. It's, and it is where it is now. Which is quite scary to anybody who's not involved in it.
See, Bitcoin is up on like $60,000 a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a scary situation. There are some rather wealthy people on the back of it, and I guess it's here to stay now. But the scary thing is the fact that we're certainly like the Bitcoin and some of the other cryptos is that like how volatile they can be and how a tweet from an Elon Musk or someone can massively swing the markets and the valuations is quite scary, really. And it's not regulated. There's no control over it. So, which is part of the purpose of it in the first place. But at the same time, that also comes with it's quite a scary situation.
Yeah. I like that somebody posted up on the World Wide Web, probably on the Twitter, a few days ago, targeting Elon Musk. He said, well, if Elon Musk sold like $6 billion or even gives $6 billion to, feed the world, the hunger problem would immediately go away. At which point Elon Musk responded with, just explain to me how, and I will sell 2% of my Tesla shares in the morning. We'll get that $6 billion and we'll invest it. You just need to transparently tell me how you're going to do what you've just said will happen. Yeah, I don't think there was a response back to that.
No, but that's the point, isn't it? Money, people very often think, just throwing money at something will give a solution. It doesn't quite work like that, does it? Really? Yeah. Definitely not. Is the way. Just should make out, because obviously there are other tournaments going on. So the PLO has concluded. I mentioned that Diego Gomez won that one. The Sunday Turbo Knockout is actually down to 6 players as well. I'm not quite sure what's going on with this No Limit Hold'em main event tonight, because by now normally this is normally down to kind of about 3 by now at this point. I mean, the average stack in this on this final table is 568,000, and the blinds are at 25,000, 50,000. So the average stack is 11 bigs. This is nuts.
It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt somebody.
Nuts.
It's already gonna hurt somebody. It's gonna hurt somebody right now.
But if you look at it, the short stack here is Daniel, who's all in at the moment. Constantine's made the call with 300, so he's got 6 bigs. And he's the short stack.
Oh, watch the ace come. Watch the ace.
Oh,
it's the diamonds.
It's diamonds. And it's not going to be. So we are going to lose another one. I mean, this is going to have to. It's just inevitable.
Yeah,
this is going to happen. And players can't complain and say, "Oh, well, it's the structure. It's this. It's what." Well, no, because they've allowed it to get to this point. So inevitable. It's going to bite. Even with that player exit, that only now puts the average stack big blinds at 13 bigs. We're still 2 or 3 players too many on this final table for the structure at the moment. So. We will see what happens.
I tell you, Leigh, just finalizing on the old TV stuff, a couple of interesting additions for you. On Prime, there's it's like a mini series or something about Maradona, and it's like part documentary, but very much bigger part drama, and it starts when he was a kid. You know, with his first, getting his first club in Argentina when he was like 7, 8, whatever it was. It shows him playing in the streets and stuff like that. And the idea is that it go for how many ever episodes it goes for. And Diego grows up, and it shows you, the good things that he did, all of the bad things that he did. But a really interesting insight, because it is largely based on factual events. So it does give you a really interesting view of, what young Maradona, where he came from, how he became as popular as he did, and so on and so forth. So, I've watched one episode.
What a hand here. Tom Bacon's all in. Stuart Lockett made the call, as has Sam. So the 2 players have seen a flop of King, Jack, Queen of Diamonds.
Ace 10 of diamonds, please.
They've got it all in. Tom's got the pocket queens, which means he's going to get a monster triple up and take the chip lead.
Wow.
With 6 players left. That absolutely incredible. That worked very well. Stuart Lock, very next hand with his 3.5 bigs, is all in. It's very difficult for Florian in the big blind to make the call here. He hasn't got a huge amount more stack wise. With blinds at 25,000, 50,000, very, very difficult to know.
I think he's going to have to give it a spin here, because Stuart could be getting it in with almost anything.
And he's got kings. How has he taken that long to make a decision? Goodness me. I mean, let's just hope he's playing multiple tables here and hadn't.
The slow roll of slow rolls there, Leigh.
Let's assume he's playing multiple tables and was dealing with something else more important than making the call with his kings. Yeah,
we'll give him the benefit of the doubt there.
Now, however, who we won't give a benefit of the doubt to is Pete Wigglesworth's in the chat. Says, hey guys, just made day 2 of the Irish Poker Masters PLO8. 44 buy-in with 200k started with 100k, so up to 420. So not a great stat, but effectively free rolling with 35 euros in bounties. He's currently watching the Blackpool GUKPT final table. Jog on,
he's playing.
Pete. Yeah, jog on, Pete. What are you doing in our chat telling us that you're watching something else?
That's honestly, fantastic.
I hope you're multi-screening and you're listening to us as well, but watching that. That's okay. If you're listening to us but watching that, we'll let you off that one.
So, Pete, tell us, are the Irish Poker Masters, is this a live event? Are you sat in Galway or something?
It's
on,
or what? It's
on the line?
It's on Party Poker.
Okay.
So it's yeah.
Wow.
It's one of the tabs that's temporarily replaced the APAT one, whilst they were trying to fit in all the other stuff that's
awesome
going
work.
So,
he's on a bit of a heater at the moment, is Mr. Wigglesworth. A great result of the IPO, right? He finished 5th or 6th, Leigh. Got a great score over there. And, could have gone a bit further. Yeah. He'll regret that, but
well, it's loads going on. I've seen the pictures today of the Bromleys with their luggage all packed.
Yeah, going off to Vegas, aren't they?
Have to make you sick. And of course, friend of the show, Robbie Straczynski, literally had only just come back from Vegas and then was back over there again because one of his very good friends, Ellie, had made the final table of the 50k Players Championship. So he decided he needed to be over there to rail. Can you imagine that conversation? Yeah, that it's really important.
Well,
at the moment.
as
I
Robbie
go
said,
back. Yeah, yeah,
I didn't want to be there for him. I wanted to be here for him. And
yeah.
here I am. I'm back in Las Vegas. He said that to everybody.
Yeah.
Now, ironically, Ellie, who, of course, Ellie Elezra, a very famous player, went in as chip leader into the final 5 of that $50,000 buy-in championship event, went out in 4th. Robbie was back on the plane.
It didn't really work for him.
He was there for about 90 minutes, back on the plane.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. He's staying till Wednesday, isn't he?
No, he's staying till Wednesday. So hopefully he's going to maybe get a chance to meet up with the Bromleys before, because as they fly in. So I think they're going to try and just meet up and say hello before they depart.
We think Adam of the Bromleys is going to go for the main event, and he's had a big win recently. Absolutely, let's try and push that prize opportunity up. Completely behind that. Presumably, our Natalie will be trying some sats.
Well, I did see. I don't know whether you saw in a photo that she posted on Facebook was all her luggage with Dara and Barry Carter's book on satellite strategy, just left out as a bit of a flight reading, I guess.
Yeah, so, it makes really good sense. So that could be very exciting. Of course, I can't recall. Is it day 1E? Is that like Wednesday? Is that like Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is it could be Wednesday, Thursday this week. I know they added a few extras in, didn't they? So
yeah. So I don't know if you've done this, Leigh, but I've had 3 late nights, right? On Friday night, I was super excited to start the main event. Resubscribe to Poker Go. 11:30, they were kicking off day 1A. So watched that for a couple of hours before going to sleep. Doyle Brunson was on the feature table. Doyle got through to day 2.
Lovely to see him, because he hadn't played for a little while, had he? So
really many years, about 7 years he hadn't played in the main event. Then they didn't have the main event on Saturday night. They instead covered off the final 5 in the Players' Championship. We mentioned Ellie Elezra. That was a really interesting game. Ended up being won by Dan Cates, Jungle Man, who turned up with
won that.
green hair and what can best be described as an eccentric outfit. No shirt. He looked like a Tarzan type figure. It was really, really odd. And then last night, they had day 1C of the main event. That came back on. And I say last night, you can watch a couple of hours in the morning. I watched a couple of hours this morning, for example. And that had Eric Seidel on the feature table. And you get to see these guys play for 9 hours should you choose to stay up overnight, which I
what I think is nice is, and you'll have caught some of this on some of the social media, is they are trying to develop the way that they put this content together. So there's a lot of stuff now with, is it Jeff Platt doing?
Yeah, that's our stuff, Leigh.
Well, yeah, it's all good stuff, isn't it? Yeah, it's all good stuff. It's how it should be. It's how it should be, going and talking to players at the table, and they're finding out about their story and what they're doing. Yeah,
much better.
That's exactly. It shouldn't just be 9 players round a table and let's see their cards and sit and watch that for 12 hours. It should be about what's going on in the room and the atmosphere and the stories as they're building, and that's what you want from that content. And it's great to see that they're putting that in this year and seeing where it leads. It's good.
Very interesting. I think the payoff will be to invest a little bit of time, a couple hours here and there, just to follow the story of the main event through. The payoff comes, when we get down to the final 3 or 4 tables. You might know some of those characters. You might have seen them develop and their stacks develop over the week, 2 weeks. And of course, the beauty here is that there's no crazy breaks. Right, so once we get through day 1, we're pretty much, going for it. Then there is no break for the final table. We're going to go straight from, the last 45 into the final table. The following day, we'll have the final table. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing how that plays out over the next, 10, 11, 12 days. And
should be good.
I saw Brandon Shallis, went through.
Brandon Shields, Brandon
Shields,
he's been out there
through with 80 or 90,000 into day 2.
Yeah, he's been doing some quite a lot of vlog stuff. I think his other half does all the video editing and stuff for us. It's really cool. She's very good at what she does.
Let's look up.
She's very good at what she does. He's obviously very good at talking about the poker. Put the two together and actually makes for a really interesting bit of content. So
And where is he?
Pete's back in the chat saying, of course I'm watching both streams, but you guys are number one. Well, that's nice to know, Pete. That is nice.
You old softy. Where is he putting that stuff out, Leigh? If any of the guys want to follow Brandon?
I think I've seen it on Twitter and Facebook.
Okay,
so
look out for Leigh. Look out for the links. Anybody
if I
else?
Find one, I'll share it in the group if I find one. So
now Niall Farrell, didn't see him on any of the streams. He was mentioned a couple of times, but either day 1A, I think it was day 1A. He definitely sailed through as well. I think he's in a pretty strong chip position. Chris Moorman is through with good chips. Trying to think who else that we would know. There's probably a couple of Brits and local players that have gone through with decent stacks. Anybody else from the APAT sort of family that Leigh, who is out there playing? Obviously,
no, not
understanding.
Really, it's
the international travel, right? It's only really on Tuesday or Wednesday of this week.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. As I say, when I saw the Bromleys packed up, ready to go, I must admit I was rather jealous because obviously we were planning on doing it. The trouble is it's so difficult to do because you've got to make plans, haven't you? You've got to get organized if you're going to do that. I've got client meetings this week, which if I'd have known I was going to Vegas, I could have moved months ago, but you can't just with a week's notice go, oh, by the way, and the same with all the stuff I mentioned packing for the charity. You can find other people to do these things if you've got a bit of warning, but if you decide last minute to go, so I'd be surprised if many others are heading out there, especially as we're not going to be a million miles off. It'll be back to May, June next year. So before you know it, we're only going to be 6 months away from the next World Series. So that'll be it. But it'd be nice to follow those guys that are out there. Fingers crossed, we get some decent runs from some of the Brits that are out there. It'd be nice to see.
Absolutely fantastic. If we do, and if we get into a day 3 or a day 4, we might even set up a watch party or do something sort of exciting just surrounding it. It could be very cool indeed.
Hey, if Adam runs deep, Natalie, you better make sure her phone's well charged. That's all I'm saying.
She's going to be drinking all sorts of exotic liquids out of her brand new shoes that Adams will be contributing towards.
We will be roving reporter Natalie live from the Rio.
Oh, fantastic! I like the sound of that. Let's do that.
Yeah, that'll be the plan. That is for sure. Yeah. So Steve and Pete are having a bit of a chat about the deep run in the IPO and some of the hands and that sort of thing. I think the whole thing was streamed, so I think you can go back and watch any of Pete's efforts over in Dublin.
He's saying there he wasn't really getting the cards. He says you can't force them. But 6th this year from 1,000 players. I mean, it's an outstanding result. But you're quite right. You can take stabs, but ultimately your tournament life is at risk.
What does he mean? You can't force them? I mean, we just normally let the organisers know what we want, don't we, Des? And we play. Just leave it. Yeah, just leave it for a bit. Then I'll have aces again when it suits. I've hardly played. Somebody said that to me the other day. So, are you still playing poker? And I said, I just don't really have the time to play very much. It's I should make. I'll tell you what's interesting with poker at the moment. I mean, I love the APAT games, and I like what we do, and I like the fact that it keeps people involved at a low buy-in and the different variants and what you can play. But actually, a lot of the other poker that's around at the moment doesn't really kind of get me excited for poker. It's kind of just the same old stuff being churned out. It feels like we're due something a little bit new, a little bit groundbreaking, something to kind of really activate people's interest in the game.
I know. Maybe that'll be the return of APAT.
Might be,
but we can't say anything about that at the moment.
No, it's return of the APAT. Yeah, it feels like we should do a song.
Return of the APAT.
Yeah, doesn't quite work, but it is. I don't know. It's really weird. I mean, there's obviously been so much online that you could play, but I've been looking at that's. I don't know. I just can't be. It's fine. I've got other things to be doing, and to say there's good stuff on streaming and Netflix and series and lots of stuff out there to watch. Yeah.
I've got my last TV recommendation for you, Leigh. This is it. This is the last one. came out on Apple TV on Friday. And again, sat down as a family and watched this one. This was Finch on Apple TV.
Finch. Okay.
Finch has
Oh,
Tom
no.
Hanks.
Yes. No, I've seen the trailer for that. Yeah, it's on my list. Again,
And his dog and his robot in an sort of an apocalyptic type situation. And he has an adventure. And it's a really good family type movie, that I have to say. Really good. Really enjoyed it.
Excellent. Did you watch the first season of Temple?
No.
On Sky with Mark Strong?
No. Doesn't ring any bells.
Highly recommend that.
Temple.
Based on it's on Sky, maybe Sky Max or whatever their drama one is. No, it's a British series. First one was maybe, I don't know, a year ago, 18 months ago, maybe something like that. And that was based on an actual, I think maybe a Swedish series or a series somewhere else, but done in Britain. Well, they've now brought a second season out. So I don't want to tell you too much about it because it's a really good story.
Well, give me the basic outline. Is it a detective? Is it a police drama?
He's a surgeon. And his wife has a disease which is incurable, and she's going to die. But he decides to.
Did you say he cures her? Have you just spoiled the whole thing?
No,
I thought you said he decides.
He decides to keep her alive to try and cure her.
Ah.
And then it leads on from that.
Okay,
so,
that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Frankenstein type story.
It's based in London, really, really good.
Good drama.
Well worth it. And the other one that I just started watching, which is on BBC. I think it started on BBC, but I think you can do it. You can watch a few of them on iPlayer, although I don't know if they're all available on iPlayer yet. But it's called The Outlaws.
Yeah.
Which is another really good one, written and directed by Stephen Merchant. And randomly has Christopher Walken in it.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. Again, and it's absolutely superb. It's a story of a group of people that get together so it's based in Bristol. They get together having to do community service. And basically they come across a stash of money, and they've all got different reasons and stories as to why they're there, and each episode kind of tells you the backstory of a couple of the characters to how they've got to where they've got to, and then kind of their development. But say it's based in Bristol, really well written. Yeah, it's on BBC. They're hour long. There's 6 episodes in total, hour long each one. But really good. Thoroughly enjoy. I think we're into episode 3 or 4 of it so far. Really good.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Talking about Netflix, have you watched the first 2 seasons of Afterlife? We mentioned Stephen Merchant, so
no.
Obviously his Ricky Gervais. Afterlife. I personally think it's the best thing Ricky Gervais has ever done. It absolutely incredible. And if I tell you the premise for it, you'll be like, "What, really?"
So don't tell me the premise. But I was going to say, I mean, I do like Ricky Gervais. I mean, I love him in stand-up. I absolutely loved The Office. But I then watched, was it Derek?
Oh yes, yeah.
Didn't quite like Derek. Couldn't
get
it.
No. Now, this is absolutely beautifully done.
Okay.
It's basically a guy married to the love of his life, and she dies, and it's
no, hold on, that's
his life afterwards.
Yeah, I seen an episode or 2 of this, and
okay.
Oh, hello, look at this. Oh man,
Queens versus King Jack, and the King's hit. And it's a double up for Constantine.
Wow, Constantine will take that, no question. I did see an episode or 2 of that, and I think it was so depressing.
Oh no, it's
I think I flipped out.
Written. No. You should stick with it. It's brilliantly written. It's funny but pulls at the heartstrings. It's quite dark because there's a lot of depression and it even delves into kind of, sort of suicidal thoughts and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic. There's a third season of it that they might have just finished filming at the moment. Steve 40 in the chat says, "Oh my God, Afterlife is the best." Seriously, it's really,
Yeah.
really good. I would certainly
maybe I'd give it another go, but it was very
Yeah.
dark, and generally I like. Well, I mean, I've watched dark things, but generally I like stuff that's a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like Ricky Gervais. I have to say, I think he's very, very talented.
Pete mentioned in the chat, just for those APAT players looking to play live events, D2D are getting great numbers in their nightly comps, mostly £50 entry, and they now have added £100 big bounty on a Sunday. So yeah, it's really good that Dust Till Dawn are getting the numbers. Absolutely fantastic to see them back open and gradually, and that's how Rob said it would work. When he said months ago that they were going to open back up, it was going to be a soft relaunch, and they would gradually get the numbers back up. They'll obviously, because they've got to retrain a lot of new dealers and to get back to the numbers of where they were. You've got to think how when they opened the club originally, it wasn't just a bang open. They did it properly, and they'll do exactly the same thing, I'm sure, now, and gradually get that. I think with the aim to have something big happening in the new year, when things are back fully up to speed. So we're down to 4 in the turbo now. We just lost Konstantin Chersin, who's on our final table here, and he's all in on this final table here. They're down to 4 as well. He's just busted 5th in the turbo knockout, and he's got his all in. And he's been called by Sam.
Oh, hello.
He's got pocket 4s. It's the ace-6 at risk. It's going to need to hit, and it's not going to be good enough for him. And we're going to lose Konstantin. He finished 5th in the turbo knockout. Well, he's now managed 4th in the No Limit Hold'em main event, 1 place better.
That's close. You've got to like that ace-6 when you see a couple of 4s there, Leigh. That's probably a better position than he thought he.
Yeah, I would imagine he was possibly thinking he was going to be up against maybe 1 over, or even worse, that actually a better ace. I don't think Sam was going to be calling it off much lighter than that, to be honest. I wouldn't have thought so. I've lost Lee Tyson in the turbo as well, so we're down to 3 in that now as well.
Can't believe it. I mean, we never finished the turbo before the Hold'em.
This is yeah. We'll see, because actually 3 now in this means the average stack is 1.3 million. Blinds are now 35k and 70k, so they're nearly playing up around 20 bigs now. So bear in mind, it was down as low as 11 about 15-20 minutes ago. So it's in a much better spot now.
I guess the question will be, given that it's been quite sporty over the last 10 or 15 minutes, whether the players can actually pull their approach back, whether they can rein it back in again. But we will see. Oh, hello, look at this. 6 against 7s. And it's 6 on the flop for Tom Bacon.
And there's no clubs out there. So
wow.
It's going to be, well, actually, it was 2 queens as well, wasn't it? So that was going to... and we're all of a sudden, we're heads up.
Incredible stuff. Simple well done, Tom Bacon.
Tom finished 3rd in the deep stack earlier on tonight, and he is now heads up in the No Limit Hold'em main event.
Well, this is going to help his run on the leaderboard, Leigh. I don't know, what his potential is, but that's a hell of a night scoring.
Yeah, we can often see that on a Sunday night. Funnily enough, last night Natalie had 2 third place finishes.
Wow!
In the 2 bounty events last night. So you can go on a little bit of a heater and certainly pick up some points quite quickly in this. And as we say, a couple of cashes, a sort of 2 final tables in a week. It's all in and a call, and it's over. It is as simple as
those
that.
3s. Wow, Tom Bacon.
That is done and dusted.
Well, that is called
Goodness me.
Bringing home the bacon with all of those 3s. I counted about 7 3s. Is that even legal?
I'm not sure whether it is, but we are already we're heads up in the turbo as well. I'll see if I can get that.
Yeah, okay.
Bring that up on the screen.
Just give me a shout when you are good to go, Leigh, and I shall put it up.
There we go. That should be that.
Oh, there we go. Crikey. At one hand. Wait till you see, Leigh. Wait till you see.
This could be over already as well. It's like... I'll be typing as quick as I can at this rate. Goodness
it's like
me.
the clocks have gone back and I've been given an extra 15 minutes of my life back. How does that work?
Yeah, it's a weird one. Yeah.
Mr. 40's out there. When do you think the next APAT live event will happen? Well, I think we've got pretty good visibility of it now. So I would expect in the next week to 10 days, we'll have ironed out, all of the outstanding questions, and we should be out, I would have thought, with news. Not too long now.
Yeah, I hope so. As we say, with all of this, it's we're doing the same thing as plenty of other people, which is just not rushing anything, just making sure that we're doing everything in the right order, and making sure, most importantly, that venues are set correctly, and that we're looking out for the players' well-being, in what's still interesting times.
Absolutely,
that is for sure.
But what we can say is you should start getting your Kazakhstan vaccinations sorted out now.
Yeah, if you need a visa,
get your visa.
Might want to get that sorted. Yeah.
Book your car rental or your donkey rental.
Oh dear.
Okay, we're going to be taking off air.
Pack your mankinis.
I don't know about you, Leigh, but I don't go anywhere without my mankini.
Oh, goodness me. Stuff popping up in front of the table.
Sorry about that, all sorts of Excel alerts. It's exciting.
Trying to get their leaderboards up and running, and you can't ever do anything about where it's going to pop up and appear on your screen, unfortunately. It just does its thing. So Carl's fighting back here, though. This is not over yet by any stretch. So I don't even know
it's Bane pun.
Try and pronounce
it's obviously Bane pun. Yeah. Come on,
our friend from Russia. I'm not even going to try and go for that. I'm not even going to try.
As we tend to say, Carl and his opponent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Steve's saying you're going to have about 10,000 players ready to play. I don't think it'll be that bad, but I do think it'll sell out quickly.
I don't think either of these players are going to impact on the top of the leaderboard this week, by the looks of it, because this would be Carl's first cash, and it would also be our friend from Russia's first cash as well, whichever one of them takes down the win. So, yeah, your comment earlier on was, obviously Tom Bacon. That's his first two cashes for the week, which is pretty impressive. It's actually given him 135.78 points, which actually has put him 3 points ahead of Richard Rudling Smith, who has had three cashes this week, and as it means he's overtaken Connor Charlton, who was the leader going into the Sunday. However, he has been beaten for the top spot by Konstantin Chersin from Russia, who's he's a step four player. So Konstantin's played regularly with us right throughout lockdown, and he's had five cashes this week.
Yeah, fair play. We saw him deep in the main event there.
Yeah, so he is going to end up top of the table.
Good for him
for this week, and he'll pick up 3 tickets. So he's on step 4, so he's going to pick up 3 lots of $33 tickets. Tom, well, he's only on step 1, so it's the just the $5.50s for him, but he's going to get 2 of them. Richard Rudling Smith is going to finish 3rd, so he's on step 4, so he's going to pick up 2 of the $33 tickets as well. So Connor Charlton is going to pick up double tickets. He's on step 1, and Hedgerus Gergo from Hungary is going to pick up double tickets as well. He's on step 1. Let's have a look who else is in the top 20 this week. Brendan Burns, step 5, he's going to pick up a ticket. Matty Ogilvy's on step 3, he's going to pick up a ticket. Mark Winsell is on step 2. He was top of the leaderboard, I think, last week. I want to say, yes, he was. He won the lead. Well, he stayed in the top 20 this week, so he's going to move up to step 3. So well done to Mark. That pesky Tony Ross has just squeezed in 19th place. So he keeps his step 5 for another. How does he keep doing that?
He's a
honestly,
he knows what he's doing.
How does he? It's honestly so. Well, once this plays out, I'll pop that up on the screen so you can all just see the final situation. But very good. So Ian, yeah, Tomo's in the chat says a live APAT. He said can't wait. Yeah, neither can we, to be honest. It feels like a lifetime since we were all together at, well, it would have been, well, actually, we did, Dust Till Dawn was the one we were kind of all together, but we did do, Tom did do Edinburgh after that, which was Edinburgh was right on the cusp of when lockdown was being implemented, because it was a bit, was it going to happen or not? So, yeah, it feels like a long time ago. That's for sure.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. It'll be great to be back. Have you ever seen the film Django? Django Unchained.
Django Unchained, yeah. Quentin Tarantino film, yeah.
Yeah. A really good film. But I did see it for a second time fairly recently, and Samuel L. Jackson, playing the sort of the old butler type guy, very evil. What a fantastic,
I must admit, I feel like I probably should watch it again. I certainly probably have only seen it once, and I probably feel like I should watch it again, because I've got a funny feeling first time round I probably wasn't completely paying as much attention as I possibly should have done to it. So,
well, I had a whole bunch of new admiration for it, because on YouTube, going back a few months ago now, I saw the original Django, which was the I'm going to say 65 or something like that, spaghetti Western. Absolutely phenomenal. So, obviously it's been based on that, but I think they've used one or two of the same theme tunes and stuff like that.
okay.
And it's not for the it's not for the faint-hearted. It's obviously an incredibly violent movie, but some of the acting is very strong, particularly.
I can't. Well, you know my views on Tarantino soundtracks are just different level. It's just
different gravy.
Really are, absolutely. Yeah,
and of course, Tarantino himself makes a very small cameo in the movie towards the end, and he's got a great little role to play. It's fantastic. I'd recommend a second view.
Yeah, I think I definitely need to have a second. Actually, the thing is, there's a lot of content coming out there. I was looking through Netflix today and going, all right, I'll stick that on my list and stick that on my list. I want to watch that. And it's finding the time. I mean, the thing is, some of the stuff I say, November is always just a crazy month for me. But actually, a lot of the stuff that I do in November, so whether it is packing, stuff for lab rescue or whatever it is you do, it takes hours. I mean, I've literally spent most of the weekend doing it. You can stick stuff on in the background and just have that on whilst you're doing something. It's not something you need to be completely focused on. So it is a good also.
It's inevitable. It's exactly exactly the way that I tend to work on some of these things. Just you have it on in the background, you got your laptop positioned, and away you go, and it works fine.
So Tristan says Thomas' mustache makes him look like the cowboy in the Village People.
Who's got a mustache? Sorry,
Tomo. Oh dear, I'm assuming he's doing Movember.
Tomo, we love Tomo around here. Oh, hello. I've heard an alarm.
Oh, is that you?
Oh, it's
time for your meds.
No. Do you know what that is? It's an 11:30 alarm set every single night, right? Without end. World Series of Poker. So it starts at
right, okay.
It'll start at 11:30, I think.
What's the price of? I've never subscribed to. What is the price of Poker Go?
It's $99 for a year.
This is all in a call. Carl's at risk with a 10 jack, and he's hit the jack. and he's going to be good for a double up. There we go. Go on. So
Wow.
it's
So it was 99 bucks. So if I'm not mistaken, it was 99 bucks for a year if you buy for the year, or it's 14.99 for a month. So obviously buying for a year makes sense. But the day before the main event, they sent me an email or something, a re-sign up type email, reactivation, and they were offering like $35 off. So it was like
oh wow.
65
Okay.
bucks full year.
Do you
And
use it any other
yeah.
time, or would you watch any other content on there,
So
or not really?
typically, I wouldn't watch live streamed poker. I don't watch every tournament that comes on. But what there is on there is they've got all of the high stakes poker. They've got all of the poker after. I mean, all of them. They've got all of the old World Series of Poker stuff. So I've already watched the first one in 1973. You've got all the old poker players down at Binion's. Then I've watched a bit of the 79 was the next one. So that's it's just like watching history. So I think there's a ton of stuff there that you can dip in and out of. But from a live event point of view, I'm only ever likely to watch some of the really big ones.
Okay. Well, talk a big one. I mean, Pocket Kings for Carl, and he's gone for 2 double ups pretty much on the bounce, and is now taking the chip lead in this heads up. See whether he can see this through. As I say, for either of these,
here we go, Leigh. It's going to all happen here, my friend.
9s versus the 10-8, and 10's going to be good.
Wow.
And so Carl's got for 2 double ups to
Easy.
absolute fumes now. Yeah, he's got
come,
4 bigs.
easy go.
I'd imagine it'll go in again fairly quick here.
Yeah, I thought so.
As I say, neither player is going to quite get enough points to make it into the top 20, because it's their first cash.
Oh, here we go, Leigh.
Of the week for either. Whoa, what a flop! 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be that done and dusted. And so our friend from Russia is going to pick up the win. And unfortunately, Carl will have to settle for second place there. But cracking effort.
Wow, that was wow.
Very, very impressive indeed. And we are done, as they say. I will just sort out the leaderboard, and we'll get that up on screen in a second.
Fantastic.
So have a look at that.
So Tris has asked the question of Ian as to whether he has a cowboy style village people style outfit to go with the moustache. Don't listen to me, and this is a safe place, right? So Leigh's just adding the algorithm which factors in who we like and who we don't like. And that will determine the final table.
There we go. There we go. So once Des pops it up on the screen.
Let's do it. I can do that. There we go.
There we go. So as I mentioned, Konstantin Chersin from Russia picks up the win this week, and the 3 tickets. That's five cashes for the week is pretty damn impressive. So well done also to Tom Bacon and Richard Rowling Smith, Connor and Hedges from Hungary as well. All pick up double tickets. Have a little scroll down there. As you can see, Tony Ross just makes it into the top 20 this week. Denis Shushkov from the Ukraine with 2s, and it varies down there. You see, you can have a decent cash. So the likes of Nelio or Spiros or Dom or Uwe, who've only had 1 cash for the week, but obviously they've won one of the big runner ones, which is always can squeeze you in. So you don't need to be playing every single night. Yanni's just missed out. Clearly not the best player in Ilfracombe. Tony Ross proving that once more. Yep. So that's where we're at for the week. We'll put the tickets from last week and the week before together, and they'll go in for this week. So you'll get those in your accounts, and then we'll do it all again from tomorrow night.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Leigh. Thank you. Thanks to you guys for sticking with us through the evening. We did have those tech issues at the start. We couldn't do anything about them, unfortunately, but we did manage to get there in the end, and I think it was fine from about 20, 30 minutes in. So thanks for sticking with us. Good luck in your tourneys during the week, right? So as Leigh said, We'll do the whole leaderboard thing through the week. Lots of tourneys taking place. And Leigh and I will be back next Sunday night to do this all over again. So until then, have a great week.
Have a great week, guys.